time.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Uchi representing the boys over here at Power Rangers Academia, and we have a bit of an update for you guys in regards to the upcoming Power Rangers hard reboot, as Entertainment Weekly put it in their article. This is pretty different from what we're normally used to doing, or you guys seeing in that case, for this channel, but I figured just to get more of a flow of content on the Power Rangers Academia channel, that whenever there is something of newsworthiness, I suppose, to report on, talk about, put our thoughts out there, we will do as such. So in this case, like I mentioned, Entertainment Weekly put out this article in regards to the upcoming Power Rangers comics, so let's get right into it. Okay, so it starts off with the title saying that see the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as adults in first look at comic book relaunch, and this is an exclusive. So again, big shout out to Entertainment Weekly for getting the scoop and making this article for, you know, people like us to make content around it and to just get these conversations going. Now, the big thing, I will start with this right now just to not waste too much of you guys' time, is that this is an adult story. Okay, now when I say that, I don't want to give you guys the wrong impression before we like read the rest of this together. Is like, this is not an adult story like how, do you remember, like, however many years ago was it? I don't even remember how long ago. Remember that one crazy like fan-made movie that adapted Power Rangers, but it was like way too over the top, gritty, dark, like they had sex involved, and I'm like, whoa, like there was some drugs in there too. I'm like, okay, this is taking Power Rangers to levels that it should never even hint at, more or less, like ever explore. So that is not what we're talking about here. That's not what we're dealing with here. This is actually a story that's apparently going to be taking place 10 years after the Rangers apparently retired. Okay, so, and we'll get more into that as we read in here. So I'm not gonna read the key points because I'm gonna read the whole thing for you guys, so that way, you know, y'all can follow along and I'll give you guys my thoughts as we go on. So right here, we're starting with a new era of Power Rangers is about to commence, and it heavily involves the original 5, though they're not those same teenagers with attitude anymore. So Boom Studios begins a hard relaunch. Keywords: a hard relaunch. Even though this is a continuation of the story, it's a hard relaunch, okay, of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So with New York Times bestselling author Margaret Bennett, she did Batwoman, and veteran artist Andrew Lee Griffith, known for their work in Transformers, so that's pretty dope. Entertainment Weekly can exclusively reveal the continuity starts fresh in this new story involving Jason, Kimberly, Trini, Zach, and Billy. So this is, you know, already kind of weird, all right, just to, you know, put it out there, because the way they wrote this, the continuity starts fresh in this new story. So there's already a few things that I can already pick out from just this first sentence, okay? And it's this one right here, okay? And it's the simple idea that if this is a continuation involving our first main 5 Rangers from Mighty Morphin, my first question is, okay, so then what happened to Aisha, Rocky, and Adam? You know what I'm saying? And Tommy, we're going to talk about Tommy a little bit later in this video, but what happened to them? You know, like, are they going to explore that part? Are they going to explain why those that left for the peace conference came back and, you know, presumed their duties as Power Rangers, okay? Like again, I also want to put out there that I know that I'm solo, and usually I'm doing videos with the boys, but like, I just want to put it out there that this video is not intended to bash on this new relaunch, okay? What I'm doing is I'm constructively criticizing and critiquing what we already know, but I'm also not gonna sit here and start like completely ripping it apart and nitpicking, okay? I'm asking genuine questions that I'm sure some folks that put a little thought into this could also ask themselves, okay? So this is a very fair question. So like, what happened to, you know, Aisha, Adam, and Rocky? Because that's a fair question. Like, if we're going to continue off of Like, this is supposed to take 10 years after. All right, so let me get to the rest of it. So right here, 10 years after retiring their morphers and going their separate ways. So what became of them after leaving Angel Grove High? So we have a little bit of artwork here. So we get our first look at how they look as young adults, I should say. We get into the age as far as like how old they are and a little bit further into this article. So I mean, not gonna lie, the artwork isn't my favorite. I guess I'm just biased towards Dan Mora. I mean, he's like a superstar now. Like, my man is out here, right? And a few others, but yeah, I mean, the art is fine. Like, again, I'm not here to bash this, but I'm just, you know, putting out my personal opinion. I'm not too crazy about the art. The designs of the characters themselves are very clean. Actually, yeah, like Zach is probably the cleanest. I mean, he's dripped out, and you wouldn't expect anything less from our favorite Black Ranger out here, okay? Like, my man out here with the hip-hop keto, he looked like he's running a few gyms for that hip-hop keto, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so these are character designs by Andrew Lee Griffith. We see Kimberly in the new Pink Ranger, you know, design look, right? I'm not gonna lie though, Jason looked kind of weird. He does look a little weird to me. I don't know if it's his hair or what's going on, but anyway, this is not important, right? So let's get to the actual meat and bones of this. So there will be some noticeable differences in the timeline compared to the characters we met on the original TV series. Yes. If you're wondering, like, where does this take place and, like, how does this affect everything else? The simple answer is that it's not going to affect anything. The reason why I'm here, of course, many reasons why I'm here to explain this stuff to you guys, is to help you guys understand and to treat this as its own continuity, okay? And I want to give an example, all right? Godzilla is the best example for this because for those that may not know, Godzilla has a buttload of movies, okay? But they don't all take place within each other's storylines, okay? A lot of them, the common thread, I should say, is that they use the 1954, the very first Godzilla film that came out way back in the day. They use that as a basis, and then they kind of build up upon that. Or if you look at what's going on recently, like with Godzilla -1, they pretty much decided, you know what, we're not even gonna use 1954. We're gonna pretty much start our story a little bit before then, and it actually takes place in like the 40s. So, and that's gonna create a whole new pathway of storytelling through -1, -0 when that comes out eventually as well. And similarly to Shin Godzilla, similarly to just about any of the ones, I'm not gonna get into it, but I wanna point that example out there so that people can understand that the continuity that was placed in front of us or before us for pretty much the last decade, ever since Boom acquired the rights to start publishing Power Ranger comics, is completely separate to this, okay? And the sooner and the faster people can accept that, I think people and fans that pick up this book will be a little bit more lenient and accepting of this new story, because that's just what it is, okay? Of course, just like with Godzilla, with Power Rangers now, they're of course going to use previous events out of the TV show, right? The TV show, and that's just how the comic obviously worked with the original Boom run, and from 2016 all the way up until, you know, recently when, you know, they're doing this now, is that they utilize what was familiar. The source material will always be the TV show, and in this case, the TV show will remain the source material, but the difference is that this will not, at least for now, this will not make any sort of reference to any of the existing Boom comics, okay? I want y'all to understand that and, you know, accept it for what it is, okay? So if you were expecting or wondering how this all connected or how this continues, it's not. It's a brand new story that takes place 10 years after a certain point in which, in this canon, in this continuity, the Power Rangers retired. They hung up their morphers. They put them on the shelf or something, okay? So let's continue. So as revealed in EW's exclusive first look inside the new pages from Bennett and Griffith, Jason became a martial arts instructor and enjoys working with kids. Makes sense. Kimberly, however, remains in a strange place. Interesting. Last time we saw Kimberly, I mean, as far as the TV show goes, before she, got written off, she was, trying to be like a not a ballerina, but like a gymnast or one of those things. Like I forget exactly what it was, but you guys know what I'm talking about. That's what she was pursuing. Even though she came back for a little vacation with Jason in the Turbo movie. We're not gonna talk about that, right? But yeah, she's in a strange place. Okay, interesting. After following her athletic passions to become a world-renowned gymnast, okay, there you go, I was right. Her dream career is coming to an end in her mid-20s, while all her friends are only just starting to achieve their dreams. So this reveals right here how old they are. So they're not, again, these are not teenagers with attitude. These are adults with problems. That's honestly like the best way to put it. So they're in their mid-20s. They're not even hitting their 30s just yet. So they're in their mid-20s. Zach and Trini are both in public service. The veteran Black Ranger now works as a public defender, fighting for those who can't fight for themselves, while the former Yellow Ranger became a diplomat. That's OD, and that, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's actually kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's very interesting to see our characters like grow into who they become as adults, and for the majority of this IP's entire existence, we've really only ever seen them in their teenage forms up until like Once a Ranger. Once a Ranger, literally the first time we seen Zach reprise his role as Zach. You know what I'm saying? So let's go. What's next? Right. So more details on her job will be revealed in issue 1. So as for Billy, he stayed behind in Angel Grove to train future generations of Rangers. So that also checks out, and that kind of connects to the events of Once a Ranger, and even some of the references that took place in Cosmic Fury, even because Billy was also involved in Cosmic Fury, for those that didn't know. This is not a plug for watching that. We're not sponsored by Netflix. We're not sponsored by Hasbro. We're not sponsored by Power Rangers. We do this because we love it, and if you're interested, go ahead and check it out, right? So there's now a need for the OG superhero quintet to reunite after all this time. Billy opens a portal to transport his old friends back to the command center to deal with a threat that's both new, familiar, Rita Rabiosa, described as a new terrifying form of an old familiar foe. So I don't know how people are going to feel, to be honest. I actually personally have not seen opinions about this new Rita Rabiosa. I mean, when you look at her design, there seems to be some obvious differences and some obvious similarities within her design. I'm not going to go too much into it outside of the obvious. You can see like her headpiece, there's like a tentacle that's half there and half not, and then her arm is looking a little weird. Like, what's going on here, right? So it's like, what is she? Like, what is the type of like being that she is, or you know what I'm saying? So it's like, where does she come from and all this kind of stuff? What can she do? And I'm sure I'm gonna take a gander here, a little educated guess, because Power Ranger fans love to just complain about everything. But I will say, and rightfully so, but whatever. Like, this doesn't really bother me all that much, because I'm just trying to see where this all goes before I fully give my official judgment on this new story, right? The fact that they're utilizing Rita in some new way is kind of interesting. And when I say interesting, I mean that this is one of those situations where it's like, okay, are we really just gonna go back to the well? I mean, we are already going to be in Mighty Morphin, which is completely understandable. If you don't understand this by now, guys, and I might hurt a lot of people's feelings for saying this, but Power Rangers is Mighty Morphin. I don't mean to undermine any, because trust me, there's so many other videos and tier lists and discussions and projects in general that the boys and I have planned that we want to do, that goes diving deep into all the other seasons, okay, to give them their flowers, because let's be honest, there's a lot of heat when it comes to Power Rangers, okay? But when you look at the bigger picture, Power Rangers is and will forever be Mighty Morphin. You feel me? So again, we're already back in this well, and they're reutilizing Rita in some refreshing new way. All right, let's see how it goes, okay? So moving on, we get a color picture of how Rita Rabiosa, not Repulsa, Rabiosa appears. So this is like a teaser this might be like the first page, to be honest. This is right here. It's been 10 years since we stopped being Power Rangers. So this is Billy. Billy's narrating this part right here. So it's been 10 years since we stopped being Power Rangers, but I've had to call you back because Rita Rabiosa is coming, right? So that's your little preview right there. So in this timeline, the original Rita Repulsa still went on to become the Mystic Mother, a plot point from Power Rangers Mystic Force. So that's a nice little nod to that. This Rita is not the same figure. Miss Rabiosa, who's more cruel and vindictive than Miss Repulsa, crazy, needs something from the Power Rangers in order to complete her secret mission. Okay, so there's some intrigue. There's some, there's some pulls here. There's some things to wonder, and you're gonna have to read to find out exactly what happens, right? That's the whole point. And of course, the next big question: and what of Tommy, the original Green Ranger? The first issue will tease the character's presence somewhere off in the background. He has meant to walk through Billy's portal, but with the others, but it didn't go as planned. So Tommy must have gotten caught up with something, right? Only one can assume. So Mighty Morphin Power Rangers #1 will arrive this June 3rd with a main cover designed by Jim Chung, with variants by artists Griffith, Miguel Mercado, Torrin Clark, Francesco Tomaselli, Annie Wu, Sweeney Boo, and more. Bars. That was fire, and congratulations to all you talented artists. You guys deserve a lot of praise, right? So this will just be the start of a new Rangers era coming this summer. Also in the works are Power Rangers Unlimited. So this is another separate thing, okay? A comic series pairing fan favorite Power Rangers from across all eras in an all-new adventures, as well as Power Rangers Green, an old man Tommy tale set in the far future with Tommy Oliver as the last of the Power Rangers. So I actually remember, and I did forget about this, that this was reported a while ago that they were going to do a new type of Soul of the Dragon for Tommy, because again, let's face it, like I already started saying, Power Rangers is Mighty Morphin. Whether you like that or not, you got to accept that fact. The faster you accept it, the more you can just go back to enjoying everything about Power Rangers, okay? And because if it was not for Mighty Morphin, then you wouldn't have the seasons that you guys have to enjoy and whatnot, And trust me, some of my favorites are not even Mighty Morphin, okay? Like, I will always love Mighty Morphin. It will always have a special place in my heart, but, like, we're not here to talk about favorites right now, okay? So we're here for the facts. So right now, Old Man Tommy, they're pretty much trying to do an Old Man Logan, okay? Shout out to our boy Wolverine over at Marvel. They're going to do another similar tale because, again, Soul of the Dragon was, of course, set in the future. He was already old. He was... I don't want to call him decrepit because that's disrespectful, but my man was clearly retired. He had no business being a Power Ranger no more. Like, he was gray in the face, old. His son JJ was already a Power Ranger. My man was in the SPD, and of course he was the Green Ranger over there, and he had the Dragon Shield, which literally didn't even look right on an SPD costume. Okay, let me just be honest. Okay, it was silly, but it was a cool little moment, right? So if you have not checked out Soul of the Dragon, highly recommend you go check that out. It's a great little tale. It's like, it's pretty much just a one shot, but nothing crazy. So now they're doing a new version of that. So we're getting a new twist, a new I don't want to say a retelling. This is a brand new tale as far as we're concerned, called Power Rangers Green, right? So what Tommy is doing in the periphery of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers will also impact the future glimpsed in Power Rangers Green. So, okay, so hold on, I gotta read that again because now I'm almost starting to get a little confused. So, okay. Also, in the works are Power Rangers Unlimited, a comic series pairing fan favorite Rangers from across all eras in all new adventures, as well as Power Rangers Green and Old Man Tommy Tail set in the far future with Tommy Oliver as the last of the Power Rangers. So in this story, not only is it gonna combine elements of like an Old Man Logan, but this is Last Ronin. This is Last Ronin but Power Rangers. That's okay. That's actually kind of crazy, because that literally just tells you right there. That's a big spoiler. There's no other Power Rangers. Everyone's presumed dead. What happened? Okay, I gotta see what happened, right? We all gotta see what happened. So what Tommy is doing in the periphery of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers will also impact a future glimpse in Power Rangers Green. So right here, that means that Power Rangers Green is directly connected with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is the new run that is starting on June 3rd. So we have 3 books. Power Rangers Unlimited is probably going to be something that's very loosely connected, but it'll probably be more connected to things that are pre-existing, that are probably, you know, from the original source material, aka the TV show. Especially if it's supposed to be all new adventures that are featuring Rangers from across all eras, and they're just kind of doing, you know, pairings for fan service. I mean, that could be really fun. Yeah, that could be very fun. I mean, this is their opportunity to do stuff like, I don't know, one of my favorite first things that I could think of is, can we get Dragon Zord versus Q-Rex? Please? Can we do a Tommy and Eric team up something so they can settle that freaking line that my man Eric Meyer said in Forever Red? He's like, oh, my Q-Rex will eat Dragon Zord for lunch. Do you understand how many? I'm not gonna go into that. Nope, not gonna do it. Not gonna fall into my own freaking trap right there. But you understand, there's the excitement there. I hope that's where Power Rangers Unlimited goes into. But my point, Unlimited is another, from what I understand here, another continuity line. But Power Rangers, the new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Power Rangers Green are gonna be connected. Okay, fair enough. And now we have some more preview images right here. So you made such brilliant lives for yourself. Jason is still a teacher. Kimberly, a champion. Trini, a diplomat. Zach, a lawyer. My man's a lawyer, son. That's crazy. And I stayed to help the new Rangers. My new life so much like the old one. And now I have to ask you to give everything up. 10 years of life and love, jobs, friends, dreams. So hold up. He stayed to help the new Rangers. So who's the new Rangers? Right? Like, who's the new Rangers? Like, they all disbanded, but Billy stayed. So that means that Billy was basically Zordon for whoever was these new who? You know what? You know what I'm saying? Because if this is taking, you have to figure what happened within those 10 years. We would presumably, you had to. How do you not think of this? Like I say, it's like, okay, Zeo, you got Space, you got Turbo, you got Galaxy, Lost Galaxy. Sorry, you have Lightspeed Rescue. Like, what are we doing? Like who is? I want to know. See, these are questions that you have to ask. Like, and are we gonna see them in this book? Okay, is this book also gonna help with maybe introducing those new teenagers with the actual attitude and not the adult problems? You feel me? So let's see. So he says right here, you have to leave everything behind to fight this new evil. Billy, I'm sorry, but I have to get out of here. An innocent man has been charged with a crime. And Kimberly, of course. Where's Tommy? The command center says 5 of us came through the portal that Billy opened, but Tommy isn't here. Oh, shoot. Billy didn't realize. And then Jason goes, Trini? So I will give them this. The way they're setting all of this up is really making me interested the more I talk about it. But that's only because they're dropping enough seeds for me to want to know the answers. Okay? And rightfully so, guys. Listen, this is new, and I know a lot of people are not a fan of the suits. That I did see online. And it's basically because of the upside down Evo logo that they decided to just slap on these Rangers. But you know, it's like, oh, and also the morphers are like more round. They actually changed the morphers up, which yeah, I'm not a fan of the round morphers. I like the rectangular type, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a dino buckler, you know, whatever. All right. But I'm not offended by the new suits. I think this new look to them is refreshing in a way. And I also think it's kind of necessary. I mean, I'm sure a lot of fans are going to be like arguing against it, but since we're going to be with Mighty Morphin for the foreseeable future, it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta have a fresh new coat of paint. And in this case, since they're already color coded, you gotta change up the suit in some way. And I also made this point. I was having a conversation with someone in my Discord about this, and I was saying how, or they were telling me that they weren't crazy about the suits too. And I said, well, here's the thing. Think of it like this. If they changed the helmets, okay? If they changed the helmets, that would actually be a bigger turnoff than just changing the diamonds on the bodysuit themselves, okay? The Morpher, while they changed the Morpher, shape, structurally within its shape, that's like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not crazy about that. I'm not gonna lie. But when you really consider, okay, is it a drastic change? Not really. It's really just like one small detail. I mean, you could look at it for longer. You could tell like, oh, there's actually more bits of detail within the suit that did get updated, which I'm okay with. If they changed the helmets, bro, people would be way more disconnected with this because they already lost the recognition. The nostalgia is gone, because if they're trying to sell people on Mighty Morphin still, they have to give us familiarity. And if they don't do that, then it's not Mighty Morphin, then it's not money that they're gonna make at the end of the day. That's just how it goes, okay? We keep it real here at Power Rangers Academia. So, and here's the cover that we saw earlier, as far as like, I want to say it was early this year for sure. I can't remember if it was like last year when we first got the scoop on this, but that's it. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers #1 is available for pre-order at your local comic book shop. Digital copies can be purchased from content providers, including iBooks, Google Play, and Kindle. So there you have it. So those are all my thoughts on the new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic book run coming on June 3rd. I am excited. I'm not going to lie. I am excited. I know that this was a pretty long video going into full detail on my thoughts, just kind of breaking down this exclusive from Entertainment Weekly. But like I mentioned at the start of this video, I figured that this was going to be something of worth to bring up and come, go out of our way to do. And, like I normally would do videos with the boys, or at least, a few of them if we can't get all 4 of us together at once. But this is newsworthy enough to report on because this is actually giving us something brand new that is Mighty Morphin, but that doesn't entangle with anything that has already pre-existed within the comic books. There's a lot of questions that left unanswered, of course, and that's, a part of the driving factor of, well, you got to read it and pick it up. I will put this out there right now. If Boom is listening, if anyone from Boom is watching this, I would actually love, and it wouldn't just be me, I'm throwing Technique out there, I'm throwing JD's name in there as well, that you have 3 out of the 4 of the main Rangers here at Power Rangers Academia that would love the opportunity to get an early access look at issue #1 so we could do a proper review ahead of when the street date drops, okay? We would love to do that. I'm honestly, like I mentioned, very intrigued for some of the little droplets of seeds that you're gonna start planting within this story. Again, I'm not offended. Listen, guys, I love Power Rangers. I love Power Rangers. Look, it's not my fault I was born in 93, okay? It wasn't my fault. I didn't ask for it. And it's not my fault that it just so happened to be the best decade ever. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you, but hey, it's okay. You can enjoy all this old stuff too. It's fine. But like I'm saying, I'm looking forward to this new refreshing take on this new retelling, this new story, this new hard reboot, however way they want to word it. Because at the end of the day, bro, it's Morphin time. And that's all that should matter. So as always, guys, love what you love. Gang, gang.